Good morning, students. I hope all of you are safe and well. As I told you that the revision week is over now. So with new week, we are going to begin new lesson. So what you have to do, you have to open up your books because we are going to begin a new lesson, a new chapter today. We finished the last lesson, that was chapter 12, Jacksons. Now we are going to begin a new lesson, that is chapter 13, Manifest Destiny. And we will begin with lesson 1, that is Trials West, and you can find it on page 418. Okay, so the first thing you should know that what was manifest destiny. So in the 19th century, it was a belief that was widely held that the destiny of American settlers was to expand and move across the continent to spread their traditions and their institutes, while at the same time enlightening more primitive nations. So this belief, this was the common belief of 19th century's people, that this belief basically was known as the manifest destiny, that they believed that the Americans were meant to control the West. So this belief is called manifest destiny. Okay, and next we have the early pioneers. So first you should know who were the early pioneers. Mountain men were among the earlier pioneers who journeyed into the West region that lay beyond the Rocky Mountains. So what they did, they roamed the Great Plains and the far west, the region between the Mississippi River and the Pacific Ocean, to trap animals for their furs. So the first thing was to trap the animals for their fur. So the mountain men, they traveled to the west, the rugged west. This was their first purpose. And some like Jedediah, here I put the name, Jedediah. Okay, so some like Jedediah Smith and Jim Beckwourth, they became very famous for their adventures. So they were the most popular of those times. Now we are going to read about what motivated early pioneers to journey into the rugged West. So pioneers and settlers, they moved out west for different reasons. There were many reasons that they wanted to go to that way. Some moved because of the amount of land available. Some farmers hoped for prosperity. Merchants, they were looking for business opportunities and new markets, so they all moved. Some wanted to take advantage of the forest and minerals in the west, and some people wanted to take advantage of new trade markets with Asia too. So these were the reasons they made journey towards the rugged west. Next we have Santa Fe Trail. Santa Fe, here you can read Santa Fe Trail. So what was Santa Fe Trail and how it started? The success of early pioneers convinced thousands of families and individuals to make the dangerous journey west. They traveled along a series of routes that led to New Mexico, Oregon, and Utah. So what they took different paths to reach to the west, and there were different series of routes. The first series we are going to read is the Santa Fe Trail, means Santa Fe Path. So actually they traveled along a series of routes that led to number 1 New Mexico, number 2 Oregon, and number 3 is Utah. So first we are going to read about the New Mexico, that path is called Santa Fe Trail. In 1821, Mexico gained its independence from Spain. Lands in the southwest that used to belong to Spain now belong to Mexico. Spain had kept Americans out of these lands, but Mexico opened its border to American traders. So one adventurer who took advantage of this new policy that they opened the border was Missouri trader, and his name was William Buckner. So he was the first person who wanted to take the advantage of this new policy. So in 1821, he left Missouri. Missouri was the state of one of the state of America. So in 1821, he left Missouri for the customary route to Santa Fe, capital of Mexican province of New Mexico. So it was the capital of the Mexican, Santa Fe. So what he did, William Beck, he left for a customary route, and he made a large, when he took this route to New Mexico, he made a large profit because the New Mexicans were eager for goods. Back in Missouri, news spread that New Mexico was a place where traders could become rich. So this was the reason when the news spread that if you will go there, you will sell things, because they know they needed those things, so you will become rich. The following year, Bucknell left Missouri with a group of traders and pioneered a new route. So he started a new route that became the Santa Fe Trail. So the next year, so what happened? The following year, first in the beginning, he went there, and after that he came back and he informed his people that if you wanted to become a rich, you should go over there. So this is how the news spread. And so the following year, Bucknell again left for this trial, for this path, and that route which he took became then was known as Santa Fe Trail. So from next series of routes is Oregon Trail. Here we will, in this lesson, we will read different trials the early pioneers took to move towards westward. The next one is Oregon Trail. So what happened? Hundreds of settlers began migrating west on an Oregon Trail to the Oregon Territory. Oregon was also one of the states of America. Rather, it is. So what happened? They like hundreds of settlers, they began migrating west, and among the first settlers to cross the continent to Oregon were missionaries. So missionaries were the first among all these settlers. And what they did, the white men made few converts among the Native Americans, but their glowing reports of Oregon began to attract other American settlers to the region. So what there were different amazing stories that spread, like the sun always shone there and wheat grew as tall as 6 feet. Such stories lured many people to 2,000 miles journey to Oregon, and in 1843 nearly 1,000 people traveled from Missouri to Oregon, and the next year twice as many. So this is when the news spread. What happened? The next year the number of people increased the double. And we also read about what things motivated them. The sun always shone there, wheat grew as tall as 6 feet. Such type of stories motivated people to move this side. Next trial is the Mormon trial. Next is about the Mormon. So Mormon is a name of a member. Let's read. Most pioneers went west in search of wealth, but one large group migrated for religious reasons. So it's not only the wealth that people were moving towards the west. Most pioneers, they went, some of them moved for religious reasons. Members of the Church of Jesus Christ, Mormons, also moved west. So members of the church of those time were called Mormons. So they also moved to west. And the church was founded by Joseph Smith in upstate New York in 1830. And the Mormons lived in close communities. They worked hard, they shared their goods, and they prospered. They flourished. Next, we are going to have trial to Utah. Utah is also one of the states of America. So what happened in 1847? About 148 Mormon pioneers, the Mormon pioneers followed part of the Oregon Trail to Utah. So the same Mormons, they followed another path, and that from Oregon they moved to Utah. With about 700 who soon joined them, they built a new settlement by the Great Salt Lake called Salt Lake City. Because the Utah has little rainfall, the Mormons built dams and canals, and these structures caught water in the hills and carried it to the farms in the valley below. And during the same time, the next thing is that during the same time, American settlers were also changing taxes. You will find everything in your books when you will read this lesson. Everything you will find in the books. I'm just explaining the main points. So you have just learned about the different series of routes which early pioneers took to move toward westward. Now the important thing, our activity for today is, after reading the whole lesson, you should be able to answer few questions I'm giving here, and few you will find at the end of the chapter in assessment section. So few questions I'm giving you for today which you are supposed to write the answers. Like, why did settlers continue moving westward? Then what was manifest destiny? I just explained in the beginning of the lesson. How did westward expansion affect Native Americans? What were some of the reasons settlers chose to live in the west? and how did settlers make the difficult journey to west. So it's your task for today, and study well and take care of yourself, and I will see you again with the next lesson. Take care. Bye bye.